I think I just always grew up understanding like the passion of a sports team and what it can do. And when you're at those games, it doesn't matter what part of Boston you're from, doesn't matter what you look like, what God you pray to. It's just like the Celtics are going to kill, Dr. J and Philly tonight. And the Bruins got to beat Montreal once, just one time, beat Lafleur. So, and I think that always kind of stuck in the back of my head, the power that sports has to bring people together.
That you married a local chick, dude. You stole one of our own, huh? You went fishing in the New Mexico ponds.
Don't regret it. Yeah, she was.
And that was before the tariffs too. So he's.
No, but yeah.
Get ready for hot takes and insight from local industry experts in real estate, business, and lifestyle. He used to play ball with the Padres. He played hockey for the Lobos. Now they're crushing it in the real estate game. Together, they'll showcase the best of the Duke City. This is All About You, ABQ.
Oh, that's right. It is All About You, ABQ. Now, the goal of the show is to highlight the best of our city's industry experts in real estate, culture, and lifestyle so that you walk away with some value and feeling inspired. Now, the way we like to do that is to answer the questions you may have or interview the guests that you want to see. So we invite you to join the conversation. You reach out on our social media tag up here or join our email list to get some timely tips about our community and real estate market. Hey, I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in Albuquerque.
Grant Harvey, home loan expert.
And we are kicking off season 7. Ooh. Congratulations, buddy, season 7.
Yeah, I'm happy. We did it.
Here's why you're going to want to stay tuned. We're joined in studio by the New Mexico United, just the all-stars. This is just the VIPs of the soccer team. Dennis Sanchez, Daniel Brucey, and Peter Trevisani. Trevisani. Hey. He did it. Trevisani.
Yeah, he's really good with names. He's good with Italian. He's good with Spanish. You name it.
Yeah, you'll never even know what my background is.
I'm just Portuguese. We'll give you a hint.
Trevisani. So, and then obviously stay tuned at the end of the show. It's everybody's favorite, Skip's Tips. Grant, dude, season 7, man. I'm super proud of you. You made it all the way this far. Buddy.
Oh, I'm proud of you back. Yeah.
You'll notice we're going with the orange background this season.
There's a lot of changes happening.
Yeah,
this
there's a lot.
Good and bad. We'll start with the good. The back is looking great. Your hair's intact.
Thank you, buddy.
Your flyaways aren't happening. That's encouraging for many out there that was worried about your flyaways, like you're working for Southwest, so many flyaways. What else we got on tap for a new logo? We have amazing guests. We have caught a lot of momentum.
Yeah, we are. We're booked out for the next couple months. So if you want to join us on UABQ, I encourage you to reach out, schedule a spot. They're filling up soon. Hey, but also let's talk about New Mexico United. I'm a huge soccer fan now.
Yeah.
We had a chance to go to the soccer game last week.
I'm a fan of, I wonder how the conversation went. Hey, before you write that ticket, let me tell you something. I like funnel cake, and I'm a big fan of this guy. Okay, never mind, he's a good guy all around. I would take advantage of the speeding ticket thing, and I have, but I would continue it further if I was Bruce. I would just be going 100 and be all, don't even stop me. Like, if you stop me, I'm going to be mad. You see the number, see my name, get me out of here. I don't even have to deal with this. I'm 25. Not 25 years old.
Do you speed? You're not known to be a speeder in town.
I'm like 11-0 in court though, so see ya.
I've been to traffic court with you.
Yeah.
So we went to the soccer game. One of the most fantastic experiences, only because we got to sit right on the pitch, as they call it.
Yeah.
Right in the Curse, which is, we'll talk about a little bit later, but the Curse is one of the most epic experiences you can have at a pro
There's
sports
just one
event.
looping soundtrack, smoke bombs, some food, some yelling, some trumpets, a lot of Spanish. I became fluent by sitting in that section, so that was good.
Yeah, but yeah, Mark, cue up any of the pictures we had. We were sitting there. Here we go. Here was.
That's my doghead friend. I didn't even know him by name, and I think he'd be offended if I said, "What's your government name?" I was just like, "Hey, doghead," and he was like, "What's up?" I was like, "Let's take a picture." He's like, "I know."
I know. Don't worry about it. There we are, waving flags.
That's Skip and I.
Yeah, it's proof.
He didn't have any pants on, so he had to roll that. That was him fastening up, like he's getting all dialed in. You can't just be dog-faced like I was blue, dude. He was prepared. Oh, that was the Easter egg lady. She didn't have any Cadbury's left. Interesting. There's all walks of life coming into that place, and it reminds me of hockey fans. They're just maniacs, and they want to apply it to towards something. So in order to not get fired from their job, they're like, "We just got 2 more minutes before I go to the United game." You know, and as they go out there and have an orchestra and like guys with the, like megaphones,
kazoos and shit.
I don't think they're W2'd. I don't think they have any health insurance.
Well, we're about to
From
talk to
there.
the owner. We'll figure out why not. Yeah, but what else has been going on, man?
Well, I don't have pictures, but the bathroom is finally finished. We've been hearing about this bathroom for 4 seasons. My 2 friends who are working like sloths because they're getting paid nothing, were working like that pace too. So we finally finished the bathroom. It was before the insurance company said, we're going to cancel your insurance unless you show us proof that this bathroom got finished. And then they're all, okay. And I could see how fast they were working.
Well, I'm sure that's going to add some value to your home. And speaking of home values, Albuquerque home prices have reached a new high amid the spring surge. In new articles that came out in March 2025, Albuquerque's housing market experienced a significant uptick, the median home price going up over 6% from this time last year. So there's a lot more inventory to choose from and a lot more buyers in the market as well as we transition more into a more balanced market.
Well, you know what's crazy is 6% is huge for us here, but that's kind of just keeping up with like the future value of money, right? So we have inflation set forth, and you know, not to be a doomsday guy, but with our standing in the world economy, our dollar is worth less, and I think it's worth what they were projected 9 cents less. That's huge. That's huge. It's just your dollar doesn't go as far, so something has to make it up. And you know, there's no better investment than real estate. But 6% is probably minuscule for big cities, right? But we also don't nosedive like a lot, like in
correct.
double digits.
We kind of like to fly low, fly straight here.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody was saying doomsday when we had those interest rates went up into the 7s, and now it's become the norm. And it's like, hey, people are still buying and selling.
There's got to be like a fulcrum where people who are holding out couldn't hold out anymore to sell. And so, if anything, like that house will just cost them just as much, or you know what I mean. You'll make it up on the back end, 7% and 7%. So that'll be a wash. But those people that had the 3%. Those days will never be the same for them. And a lot of people are tainted by that sentiment of how can I afford a house, because they got used to something that was an anomaly. Anything below 4% is just a statistical outlier, and enjoy it while you can. I mean, that shouldn't be your standard of house purchasing. That was remarkable times, and we'll refer to those back in the days where you could watch television with your dad in black and white and watch the World Series and see shoeless Joe Jackson. That wasn't available on TV.
Throwing it way back.
I'm just trying to make up terms now. Yeah. Anyway.
Good, buddy. You feel like ranting this week?
Yeah, sure do. I guess I don't think that's a real cigarette. Okay, we go about that every month. So we're going to talk about not fast food, but pickup food. And where I'm going with this is I'm really mad about the condiments set forth. And we're going to attack Jimmy John's. Jimmy John's is a big game hunter. Right, and the owner of Jimmy John's actually hunts giraffes. Like, why would you hurt a giraffe? You know, it's kind of like a low life thing to do and go, oh, I caught myself a giraffe. Like, they're not. It's not a big deal. Like, that's a sad thing that a giraffe's not a predator, and they're like, you shoot them and you put them on your wall. Like, what's Jimmy John's friend is happy about that? Second thing, you go to order a sandwich and they go, oh, mustard, there's packets over there. Like, as if mustard is such a crazy topping you want. Oh, if you want to order off the menu, here's your mustard. Second thing I don't like, or main thing, is I don't like how much stuff they give you, because I'm an environmentalist. If I'm getting Chinese food, I don't need 18 chopsticks, because I could just open up business myself with all the supplies you gave me. I don't need 19 packets of soy sauce. Let me ask for them. And the napkins, they just kind of throw them in the bag. By the time you get home, you realize you just have a salt lick for dinner. That's what I don't like about fast food or pickup. That's the Grant's Rants.
Throwback to Jimmy John's. Yeah, here, you put the condiments on. You work here now. You put your own mayo.
You should get a W-2? Like, where's it end? It is mustard really like something they're not prepared? What are they going to put on instead? What are their sauces? Like barbecue? Or like Mandarin draft sauce? And the drafts you killed, you lousy person.
Coming up next is why you're going to want to stay tuned. We're joined by the New Mexico United. And then stay tuned to the end of the show. It's everybody's favorite, Skip's Tips. This is all about you.
Recycle, too. Jeez, people.
Welcome back to UABQ. I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in Albuquerque.
Grant Harvey, home loan expert.
We're joined in studio by Dennis Sanchez, Daniel Bruce, and Peter Trevisani, the New Mexico United, kicking off season 7. Welcome to the show, fellas. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules, kicking balls, to come over and hang out and break some balls with us. But no, Peter, so congrats. You guys are, what, 7th season now?
Just like you guys, yeah, we're in our 7th season. We're into it now with Coach Sanchez, and Daniel Bruce has been here for every season. He's the lone survivor.
Yeah.
So it's been an amazing journey.
Well, that's what we were talking about, Brucey. I mean, you're from overseas. You're from
Across
England.
the pond.
Across the pond.
Originally from up north in England, in between Manchester and Liverpool. Yeah.
Yeah. So how?
Wait, hold on. I want to start. Do you have your own accent? I've heard that when you start to vary from section to section, it has its own. Like you can kind of tell where people are from.
Oh, totally. It's even more condensed in the UK. I mean, from growing up north into Newcastle to Manchester, Liverpool, these places.
Could people point out, like, they generally know where you're from by this?
They'd know I'm a northerner. Yeah.
But I pegged it for northerner too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like the Manchester, Liverpool, like those. I mean, they're not far, 20 minutes away from each other, and the accent's completely different. Yeah.
And I had a friend that went to a Manchester game, and he said that how close it was, and there was just like gangs of people, and you go, how are they generating that many people coming out in camps? It's amazing that there's this much rivalry and this much dominance, or like I guess a prevailing winning or stance, or like from just a stone's throw away.
Absolutely, but it runs through your family. You know, like me growing
it's like a gang. It has to be. It looks like a gang when you guys are out there.
Don't know if it's that far, but like I never had a choice who I supported growing up.
Kind of gang-like activities. Yeah.
It's like my dad would tell me, you have to support who we support.
You know, you have to get branded. Stat, I'm only 7. Okay, good. Sorry. Yeah, I'm fascinated by this because he's in denial that he's in a gang. And so I'm here to help him through this. It's okay. It's almost like a cathartic, supportive gang. And as long as you're not looting, I see that there's plenty of exchanges in the crowd. Not hugs, it doesn't look like sometimes. But I think that kind of, allegiance is amazing to me. I mean, that you're living for that, right? I mean, that's what hockey is up in Edmonton and in towns that's adore it's their everything. It's like, it probably goes, religion, then sports, right? Oh, we'll put family there. Family then sports. Yeah, that's probably the way to do it.
Yeah, you're right.
But Dennis, you're the, I don't want to say the newcomer to Albuquerque, but you've got the lowest amount of years here in Albuquerque. Only a few months.
Yeah, about 4 months now. Honestly, it's been a really seamless transition. I think that I'm really fortunate to be a part of a truly remarkable club. I think anywhere you go, it's always about the people, and I've been welcomed with open arms for the first moment. I came here with my girlfriend Natalia, supporters waiting for us at the airport, just to little things to help us feel comfortable. And it's funny how kind of life works out in your past and how you arrive to certain places. And I actually have my ancestors are from Albuquerque originally, and I always felt that deep down, even when we came here last year, coaching the wrong team, but I always felt a unique sense of energy here, and was lucky enough that an opportunity came up, and honestly, it was a no-brainer to come here.
Well, I'm glad that our city welcomed you so warmly. I think that's just basically Somos Unidos.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying all along.
And that's kind of the theme of the team, and that's something that we learned when we went to the game last week, and we sat in the curse, which, by the way, applause on the curse, man. That is one of the most fun fan interactions.
And how it unravels itself, right? I mean, they do their own dynamics, and it's interesting to see what they come up with.
Yeah, do they have a coach? Who put that together, or is that just all organic?
They have a captain. So first of all, the supporter section, completely independent from the club. Now, we can support them. I think we bought a drum for them the first year and encouraged them to come together. But at the end of the day, it's not the team's people. They need to go create whatever interpretation they believe the Mexico United should be, and then be as crazy as they want. And so you've got people, with instruments. People dress up. There's chants. So there is an individual called the capo. And the capo is actually on the field, physically on the field, usually has a bullhorn.
And a cape.
It's that young kid, right?
Yeah, he likes to have a cape. It's a couple different.
He's
Sombrero Man has
so
done
his day job is a superhero, and then he makes it just in time, and he can barely unchange, and then he gets on there. So he's great.
And then he's valet at the Chaco after that. And so, the fact is like, anything can happen there, and it usually does. But
Isn't it wild to see the culture formed? Like when I was coaching hockey, and I go, "What are they doing up there?" I love it, but like, who rehearses? How do they know to do that stuff? And they're just like, it's like just leaving this wild pack of animals alone and saying, "Let's see what they come up with today. Let's see what smoke they're going to throw. Let's see what songs they're going to have. Let's see what if the Easter egg girl's coming out again. Or what's she going to be, a Valentine girl, or what? But
it was funny because we went home from the game, and it just kept playing in my head, the drum, like Somos, So I think that's great, man. It's a nice.
It's touch. Great. It's always changing. It's always evolving. It's so much different than year one, but not better or worse. It's just the next
fashion
version.
Never ends.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah, it's true.
Let's talk about the genesis of the team. Okay, so you're a Boston kid, And I think it's always great to ask people, how in the hell did you end up in New Mexico, number one? And then number two, what spawned the idea of, you know what, this town needs a soccer team?
Yeah, well, I don't want to go into witness protection programs and how I ended up out here, but I grew up in Boston. My grandfather actually had they didn't call them sports bars back then, but inside the Boston Garden where the Celtics and Bruins played, he actually had a bar inside. Looking back, I think there might have been some bets going on. It was a little bit before,
Hey, that's illegal.
No cameras
back in the
illegal to do
70s.
that.
So I don't know exactly what was going on in there, but a lot of drinks. I used to bust tables when I was like 12
Plausible
years old.
deniability is what they call this in law. Okay.
I know. I think he's been dead over 7 years, so everything's wiped out. But great guy, and literally back then in the 70s and the 80s, after I bust the tables, at like around halftime or the second period of Bruins game, I could just go into the game. And I might just sit under the basket, and I know the ushers, and you knew the players and the coaches. Sometimes a player would drive me home. Like, it was really like a family. And
You must have been a really good busser.
I brought snacks.
Hey, let's get this guy. Let's get him home right now. He needs a ride.
Clean our
Crinkle
house.
fries, right?
What era was this? What year is
So this is like late 70s. Larry Bird's
You got
early
Parrish in there,
years.
right?
Yeah,
Oh.
Riley Parrish, Robert Parrish
Yeah.
has driven me home. You cannot sit behind him in the car because his seat literally go all the way into the back.
He's all legs.
So,
Yeah, just convertible
you'd have
too.
to pop on the other side.
That was before Miatas.
Yeah, he didn't talk much, the chief. But ML Carr was another guy that would sometimes take me back.
That is an excellent
And it was
story.
great. Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. I didn't necessarily understand or appreciate, kind of looking back, it's like,
No,
that's
you
the
don't as a
gravity
kid.
of
You
it.
don't know what era you're in, right? And then you
just
go,
go
holy
with-
smokes.
Just
that
Uncle
was
Larry taking me here for a ride.
So, I think I just always grew up understanding like the passion of a sports team and what it can do. And when you're at those games, it doesn't matter what part of Boston you're from, doesn't matter what you look like, what God you pray to. It's just like the Celtics are going to kill, Dr. J and Philly tonight. And the Bruins got to beat Montreal once, just one time, and beat Lafleur. So, and I think that always kind of stuck in the back of my head, the power that sports has to bring people together. I grew up playing American football. I thought soccer was this boring 1-0 sport. Because I wasn't any good at it. Every time I got the ball, someone took it, and then I got to run them down.
Start over.
And I'm not as fast. How do you get the ball
I'm
back?
out. This sport sucks. He took the ball.
I'd have to wait, and the ball came to me. It was horrible. And but then I realized 1-0 can be the most exciting game you've ever seen, I'm sure, and played in. But when I got out here and the idea of a soccer team came up back in 2016. I think, just was feeling more division, not just in New Mexico, but in the world. It's not a political statement. So, for me, it wasn't about bringing a soccer team. It was about bringing something together that could get New Mexicans to come together. Because we have some of the best people in the world here. And I think so often everyone works in their little silos. They're afraid to come together, and because things are a lot harder here. And so it was really an invitation is, why don't we come together? Why don't we see what it looks like when 10,000 New Mexicans come together and say yes? And if it looks good there, maybe outside of the game, we can find some other commonality, and we can help build the next, the next best generation of New Mexicans. We can build our future together.
You've done a great job of assembling probably what I would say that gathering people at the pit has been the first movement and stayed. And you guys have been a mainstay. And it's surprising because I like to watch things unfold in a sociology way and go, we'll see if this catches fire. And you did. And it got momentum fast. And everyone around me was like, we're going to the United game, Grant, you're going to go? And I'm like, no, I don't know yet. I will tell you this. I used to come down on people from not seeing UNM hockey games. I'd be like, how is their best kept secret? We're so good. We're winning and winning. And here I was not going to United. So I was kind of feeling like just recently, like what a hypocrite I was. Like I wasn't partaking the same way that I thought was appalled that people were going to the UNM hockey game. So I knew you guys had kind of stole the heart of Albuquerque, and it's good that they gave it to you. But because they're loyal as can be, and they need stuff like this. But we're a town that's bred on familiarity. And so, and patterns, and so you guys have become familiar, and you catch fire more and more. So, but those people aren't going anywhere. You're only going to add. So that's.
And that's such a great point, because like in Boston, it was never like the Bruins or the Celtics or the Patriots or the Red Sox. You could like them all, and many people did, including myself. And I think the same thing here in New Mexico. It's not it's the Lobos or United or the Isotopes or the Ice Wolves, where Brucey was going crazy at the last game in the playoffs. The fact is like we need more things, like, and we can love them all just as deeply and passionately. The enemy is outside of our state.
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
Yes, you want people participating within the city, so that it becomes this thing, this culture that we have to engage in these endeavors, and your matches become a thing to do, and Lobo basketball games, Lobo hockey games, and so people can get this. They almost be inspired to go be out more. When you see everyone around you going out, you're like, yeah, okay, maybe I'll go out, and it kind of gets the people's tension off here, because people don't like new things here. Right. So I'm really impressed that they grabbed onto it, because they either grab or they shove. Yeah, that's it. That's
We're
how
eternally
it goes
grateful. We appreciate. Try not to screw it up. I don't know if I can swear on this or not.
Oh, dude, we've been trying to get kicked off. We just
yeah, we're trying to get canceled. But Bruce, I want to ask you, you're the last remaining player from the original roster from, 7 years ago. So in your experience, how have you seen the team evolve over the last 7 years with new guys coming in, new coaches?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously natural changes with teams when you know, styles of play and player personnel and quality. I actually think one of the most amazing things has been the things that have stayed the same over 7 years, which has been the goal, the mission of the club, to win things and be in the community and connect with people, and to win matches of football for New Mexico. And I think, you know, we have seen lots of change in personnel and people, but the most amazing thing is the actual values of the club that have actually been consistent over 7 years. And that's been something that, you know, has made me want to go deeper and deeper into the club, because I know, you know, we're going to try and help and evolve as a club, but not change, you know, who we are and what we stand for.
Well, that's great to know, and I think that's one of the things that's probably, you know, driven you to stay here. Yeah. That and the fact that you married a local chick, dude. You stole one of our own, huh? You went fishing in the New Mexico ponds.
Don't regret it. Yeah, she was.
And that was before the tariffs too. So he's.
No, but yeah, she's born and raised New Mexican. You know, one of the best decisions of my life. And she went to Hope High School just here, and
Huskies.
Was a Lobo as well, and went to, you know, school here. So yeah,
well, that's great. We're glad that you're staying here, another convert. You know, we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And so, how's your time been in New Mexico so far? Are you exploring red chili, green chili, all this stuff?
Christmas.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll be right down the middle. No, it's been great. I mean, honestly, like I need to explore more, to be honest. But I would say on a daily basis, and being a part of, you know, I've had a lot of experience in different clubs, good, bad, you know, in between, and this has been one of the best decisions of my life. And I think that, you know, what we talk about in terms of community, and, you know, we try to attach that to the group as much as we can in terms of playing for a higher purpose. And the reality is, if you look at the root of sport, like we can make such a difference in the community. And the reality is, we have no idea what people are going through, and so, you know, to be able to bring them joy for 90 plus minutes on a Saturday, and it can really be life changing. So we're going to continue to give our all. I know over time I'll get out there and explore more if Pete, you know, takes it a little bit easier on me. But no, it's been great so far.
The amount of visibility you have, it pours itself. It goes back tenfold. I think when I was getting my players out in the community, as you guys are visible too, people go, well, those are our guys. They're authentic. And they pledge themselves to you, and you have no idea how much impact you have on their lives, how much they look forward to your winning. It's their everything. Like, some people have dedicated themselves to the team and look forward to it. It's really flattering to know that people look forward to your product, like they count on it. And that's touching too. And so then, you know, we were talking before the show, Brucey, that it makes you want to play harder. It makes you want to dedicate yourself not only to the team but to the city. And to play for the city and something bigger than yourself is like what an inspiring push that your tank has to be full.
Yeah, you see the fans in the stadium; they're giving it their all and giving it everything.
Yeah, that guy's playing the trombone or whatever the hell it is.
I have to give my all as well today. You know? But we scored late on the other night and won 2-0, and I just had a moment of looking up, and I've played here, you know, for 7 years, and I looked up, and there's, you know, grandparents, and they're with grandchildren, and 6-7-year-old boys who, you know, play soccer, and, you know,
just a guy gets out of a wheelchair. I can walk again.
But you're just like, you know, what an amazing like chance we have to bring joy to people, and that's such a, you know, it's a blessing and a responsibility as well. But that's why we love this sport and why we play, and it's, you know, both from the lads on the field, the fans in the stadium, everyone pulling
Well,
together.
one thing
That grandmother was giving it to you. Brucey got a ball dunked off his head, and a player got a red card from Omaha. And I think the grandmother you were looking at, she gave it to that guy. She was coming out. You know,
took him by the
don't
ear.
act like that.
That's my Brucey!
Yeah, your mother didn't raise you right.
They had my back in that.
She
moment.
wrote him all the way up.
They did.
Well, one thing I like about you guys, we haven't talked about soccer one time. All you've talked about is giving back to the community, back to New Mexico. And case in point, May 10th, you guys have the ALS Foundation you're raising money for in the game. And then also the foot golf tournament that's coming up right after that as well. Talk a little bit more about that, giving back to the ALS community, Pat Grange.
I mean, we, sometimes we joke that, New Mexico United is really a community benefits program disguised as a soccer team. And but while we want to win a cup and we want to win games and we want to put smiles on everybody's face, there's so much more that we can do in the community and have an impact. And it would be really just be a waste if all we did was play soccer.
There you go.
And drink beer afterwards.
Yeah. And one of the things that we can do in addition to, doing the work ourselves is we can shine light on other organizations that dedicate so much time and energy. In many cases, people dedicate their lives to these organizations. So when we can take something like ALS and the Pat Grange family, who unfortunately had to go through that with their son, and he passed, and maybe make it a little more comfortable for somebody else that may have that disease starting even today, and provide a more comforting path. We want to shed light on that. We want to help there, and that's the real why, and that's what I get chills when we score, and I get chills when I talk about.
Do you know what also is good? It ties everything in. Is seeing like the advertisement, the sponsors, right? You get a Meow Wolf like that. Yeah. It just collects New Mexico. It's just it furthers and propels the image that you guys have about New Mexico. I mean, Meow Wolf is such a cool niche, and it's great that they want to participate. How did you get that relationship with them?
Yeah, that was really. That was an interesting one, and probably a little long for this show. But at the end of the day, I'm actually one of the original investors in Meow Wolf, and I got to really know the founders of Meow Wolf. And in fact, I give them a lot of credit because if Meow Wolf hadn't existed or doesn't exist, I never would have had the courage to do New Mexico United, because when I saw these artists reimagining how they could go out into the art world and sell art without going through a gallery, I was like, wow, maybe we could have a soccer team that's not really about soccer, or we could reimagine how it is. It's just not about winning and losing and rock'em sock'em. Maybe it can be about something much more than what's on the surface. And they really inspired me personally to think about it. Ron Patel, who's been such a big part of this club from day one, he had the original vision for the team. Want to give him a lot of credit. And so when we were launching the team and we were saying, okay, we're New Mexico United, and we were going to do the front of the jersey sponsors, like, Ron, let's put Meow Wolf on there. And he's like, great, how much are they going to pay? It's our best asset.
We get that a lot.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean pay? And,
what's that?
And so we actually did something which I don't think many teams have ever done before. So we created actually two jersey sponsors, a home sponsor and an away sponsor. And I went to Meow Wolf and said, look, let me just put it on the front.
It's so cool.
It's not about the money. This is about promoting New Mexico and New Mexicans. And I think Meow Wolf has loved the partnership. We've renewed. We actually have an eternal partnership. It just renews every single year, forever. And I think what it does is one of the groups of people that have maybe felt disenfranchised from sports historically are artists. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times as kids, are you an athlete? Are you an artist? And you really can't be both. And this was a bridge.
That's funny you said that, because of the way I feel like you got some guidance and a perspective from artists. And I think that the left brain and right brain sometimes can't cooperate. And you may have both. It looks like you have both. And sometimes artists.
I don't know what's in there. Yeah, got the uni
one
brain.
thing, you're something. But the artists will tell you about things that the businessman won't.
Right.
And you get a whole new perspective. Go, maybe I can. Maybe I need to stop listening to this stuff. And if I just believe it can go. And you can get wrapped up in numbers and demographics and such. And this is an example of I didn't think a soccer team could take off, like a business guy.
Well, you talk about numbers, and I mean, another true story, we were looking at the spreadsheets, right? Excel spreadsheets, finance. We pour how many fans, what it's going to cost.
Yeah, how many popcorns we got to sell.
And every time I got to the bottom and hit the little sum bottom number, it was in the red, and so we changed some numbers and changed. and we couldn't get it to look black. And the fact is the numbers didn't make any sense. And so we just, did what any responsible person would do. We ignored all the reasons to say no.
And
we
you
just
jumped.
figured out why should we say yes.
You jumped.
And we did it.
Some
We
of the
took
best
jump.
decisions you probably ever made in your life were like ones you were like when you jumped. And I always tell my players, like, when you get these butterflies in your stomach, something big is about to happen. There's a good reason. It's a precursor to something huge. And I bet you had butterflies. Like, this has got to be like, oh my God.
I said, this is gonna be I'm gonna have to go back to work.
You were wearing out different things than like maybe your average guy.
How do we? Yeah, it was very nerve-wracking. I was, it was way out of the comfort zone, and there's a whole graveyard of sports teams that haven't made it in New Mexico, and but we're really thankful for each and every one of them because they are also a brick in the wall. And without the work they did, United wouldn't exist. And so we just have to always be aware of that.
Let me ask you this. So one of the underlying themes on the show is, promoting cool things about Albuquerque. But Albuquerque is always slow to change. There's so many people here that are no-sayers. It's never going to work here. Or let's talk about what is the next step for United. Because the question that always looms over is, where's your stadium? When are you guys going to get a stadium?
Dennis, tell them where the stadium is.
It's coming.
That's
what he told
It's
me.
a speakeasy stadium, so worry about attendance.
But so I know there's always been headway as far as getting a stadium approved, and I think we're always on the pro side of let's get some change, let's get some new avenues going.
We're a growing city, and we need more amenities. We need more healthy places that people can gather. And we need to have attractions that want to keep our younger people here, that want to stay here, and attract other younger people to come here from other cities that want to be part of our community. And so we can't just rely on everything that was put in place in 1962. So doesn't have to be overnight, but we slowly have to build these amenities.
That's what I was saying earlier, and I had a couple shows ago. I go, why are we living by these dead guys' rules? Like, aren't we here? Don't we get to figure out what we want to do? Like laws and everything. Not to be too philosophical, but we get to have some say now. We don't have to go, well, this is the system. Okay, we're here. We can change it. The fact that you want to get into get a state. Where would you put a stadium if you had your choice?
So right now we actually have an agreement, a legal agreement with the city of Albuquerque to lease 6 acres of a parking lot, which is out at Balloon Fiesta Park. Balloon Fiesta Park's about 400-acre piece of land. Half of it's grass. The other half is parking lots. Obviously, there's an amazing one. The most important balloon festival in the world is taking place right up here in October.
That's funny about traffic. Yeah, if they can pull that off, they can pull.
That's 100,000 people that come to a busy day in Balloon Fiesta, and we're 10,000 people on a busy day. So all the infrastructure is already in place, and what's great about this piece of land, it's behind these power lines, so the balloons don't fly there anyway. So all it doesn't take away from Balloon Fiesta, doesn't take anything from anybody. It's accretive. In fact, we can make that park nicer. That park should be a gem. We have people coming from all over the world to go to that event. Their impression in New Mexico is going to be the airport and Balloon Fiesta.
Right. And the power lines, right?
And that's where they are. So let's be proud of that space. And so I think a lot of energy and money is going into making that park better. This stadium, which will be something that we can, you can land a balloon on it when we're not playing soccer. Don't tell coach that. And, we want the kids to come out there and play. We want to do other events. And we want to activate that park every single day, not just 2 weeks a year.
It'll be your park, and then you don't have to wait for your turn or scheduling. What I think is important is to have a homegrown kind of soccer. So you can probably develop talent, right? You can have your eye on local talent, or have this be maybe not a soccer hotbed, but a destination place that it's your very own, and you get to call it your own, and it's not like, oh, well, don't the Isotopes play here? And that's fine, and the partnership probably did its job, but I think the city has a lot of 10% are loud whiners, I call them. No, that'll only cause this, and then probably people put gum on the sidewalks and just shut up. You know what I mean? We like the yes people that make it happen, and then you go see, and sometimes you have to make an executive decision. I believe you go, look, it's going to be good for the city, and I believe in it, and that's it. I don't want to hear anything else. Just watch this.
That's right.
It's not like you're doing something visionary and following through with it. It's what we've needed for a long time here. Yeah.
Well, it's been It's been amazing. We have a great group of partners with the Mexico United. We're all there. All of us are either born and raised in New Mexico, or live here now and call it our home, like Brucey does.
Brucey just stealing women.
Just one last. I didn't do that, by the way. I brought my own.
I imported it as well.
I'll get over it eventually.
I'm not that selfish. Yeah. So. But we're ready. We're going to be putting 30 to 40 million of private money, and but the way to make it work is we need the city, we need the state to also be a good partner, and so far that's coming together. There's a lot more work to do, but that's how these things come together, and then we have an asset that the entire state can use.
And as long as it's been known that you're putting some money forth and there's some skin in the game, that you're not just looking for some welfare checks and, hey, can you please help us out here? Like when people are meeting you in the middle, or you're doing a pretty substantial contribution of your own funds, I think that's something the city should go and tout that. Like, hey, this guy came in with his own stuff. Like he doesn't just want to open up his hands and want everything there. So I think that kind of co-op between private money and public money is something that the public needs to be aware of, because they're under the impression they should foot the bill if they're going to have it. It's like,
if they want to play there, they should pay for it.
Yeah, they should pay us to come in there. It's watch. Yeah, you can have this outrageous, but I call it outrageous or loud 10%. And you would think that there's a resounding sentiment among the city that's just not there. It's just they get on their computers more and email more.
But I want to pivot a little bit more, because I was a baseball player and he was a hockey player, and so we know what goes on behind the scenes as far as travel, as far as eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and trying to make it into the big leagues and all that stuff. So what's in baseball specifically, we would get 1 day off a month, and typically that 1 day off a month was for travel. We would play every day. What does a typical week look like for the soccer team?
Yeah, I mean, there's a pretty natural flow, but there's also, just like last week, we played Wednesday, Saturday, so you have to kind of constantly adjust the schedule. I would say that I'm more of a new age coach in the sense that, we're talking about 10, 11-month seasons, so it's not only trying to regain freshness from a physical standpoint, but also a mental standpoint. And I'm a huge believer that, yes, they are footballers, but they also have lives outside of football or soccer, and that they need to spend time with their families. So there's a very healthy balance of kind of making sure that we talk a lot about like a periodization in terms of how we can make sure that we're hitting the right physical outputs, making sure that we're tactically preparing, but at the same time using the game as our anchor and making sure we're as fresh as possible. So some days are some weeks are 1 day off, some days are weeks are 2 days off, depends on the travel, depends on kind of where we are in the flow. But for me, again, it's always like this kind of juggling of where you're at in the season, the art of kind of reading what the guys need.
There you go.
So that's a huge part of it as well.
I think that the success, with the age gap between you two, or how it made you remember what it's like to be a player. And I think what good coaches go, here, what did I hate in coaches? What did I remember not listening to in coaches? You have clipboard coaches that have policies that just have regimented ways, and that you lose your players, or you go lean in and be like, hey, what's going on? How you guys feel? And they can have some impact and almost make it a democracy in a way where you go, happy players play their best, right? But if you have these policies set forth and that you're disrespecting me and such, if your ego becomes before the team, you've had coaches like that, and it does. The locker room is not. The sentiment's poor.
100%. And I think that we take a lot of pride in being a players first club, and what I mean by that is making sure that we do whatever we can to help support the players. Of course, there's I've been fortunate to walk into a locker room that there's so much humility and really good character that they appreciate those things. And I think when you can create a platform that not only providing resources, but that the players enjoy coming into their job every single day. And we talk about all the time of like how lucky we are to do what we do, and to never take that for granted, even in the most difficult times. And sure, you're going to be going through injuries, you're going to be tired. It is a long season. There is a lot of travel. I think playing in the U.S. in general in any sports league is a whole different challenge that any other really league in the world has to experience, from the travel, the climates, the elevation, and fortunately we have that on our side. But again, I think we're just trying to provide as best platform as possible for the guys.
Brucey, talk a little bit about life in the soccer league. What's the farthest you guys have to travel? What's the farthest team away?
This year will probably be Hartford.
Probably
Hartford,
yeah.
That's a long drive. So what is it? What is it?
You can't rollerblade over there in 1 day.
So what does travel look like? You guys are flying first class, private jets, or are you guys really taking a bus?
Yeah,
to
let's
most
really
places?
No, I mean it's standard flights that go across there, but it's actually great. Sometimes we'll come back and see a lot of the fans, people that travel with us or coming back into the airports and see, our fans who are there and they want to say hi. So leaving and coming back is it's a bit of an experience. Like, it's pretty good to see and be with.
You seem like a pretty humble kid, and what I mean by that is there's probably some people that look at you like, oh my God, it's Brucey, and you go, man, I'm a human, but it's crazy the way you regard me, right? Do you ever feel that way, like the way they look at you and you go, man, I'm a human too, like you almost want to talk
I'm
you
not
down?
Sure. Maybe it's my teammates keep me humble, I think. They do that job for me. But yeah, I mean, speaking to your other point, with things like travel and things like, days off and rhythms that can be tough in a season, I think it's important to have internally motivated players who are always looking at themselves, never looking outside, but actually the harder thing to do is looking in the mirror and saying, what do I need from my body? What do I need to perform best? What can I do to help? And we do have that, a group of really internally motivated players that actually want these things to, and want to make the best of the opportunities they have, not really look at excuses.
Every good team has some, I would call them sub-coaches or captains within there, right? How many do you think you have? I used to have 3 or 4 that would be, because a coach can only say so much. You got to have this inner culture that wants to work. Like, who do you have?
It's a great question. I think, there's, especially with kind of where we are in terms of the stage of me coming in and working with a group, of course, they have to hear my voice, ideas, from a tactical aspect and from a cultural aspect. But I've told these guys from day one that this is their team. I'm a huge believer that in the best teams possible, you look at like the Phil Jacksons of the world or Pete Carroll's, like they want the players to have that responsibility, because reality is this is a player's game. My job is to create an environment where they can be at their best, give them guidance and support,
right? Yeah.
But ultimately they're the guys on the field that have to go out and execute. So we actually have a leadership committee that was voted upon within the group.
Wow.
Based off of our ethos. So again, that's passing on the responsibilities. Brucey was selected.
I would pick him too. Yeah.
For hard work and diligence. So again, it gives the players a voice. It allows them to have, I try to have as much of an open door policy as possible, but at the end of the day, I want to have players within the team that can really represent the group and give them a voice.
You sound like a kind of coach, and I would probably call him a player's coach, right? Yeah. Because you go back and say, I want some feedback. I don't have this, again, I go back to the clipboard, but some go, here's what you're going to do. What do the players want to do? What do they find to be enthusiastic about? And give it a chance. And I think players love a coach that goes, it wants the equal feedback. Okay, maybe I'll try it then, and not be like, oh, let's see, let's have a practice where you're like.
If you want players that you want to grow on and be process oriented, you have to be the same. So I am far from perfect in life, and as a coach, there's still a lot of growth that I would like to have, and what a better resource to have than players. I mean, players will be frank with you. Again, I'm always trying to put myself in their positions to think about the flow of training, what we're doing, making sure that, again, it's not my voice every single day, when to push them versus when to kind of take a step back. So again, that's the art of it. But again, we have such a great locker room. I've maybe once this entire year have had to provoke them to bring out more energy, and that was in a preseason game after being away for 6-7 days. But these guys are motivated, which makes my job a lot easier. Now it's just about, again, guiding them in the right way and helping them as much as we can.
Yeah, the selective voice has them not putting you on deaf mode, and like if you bark too much, it's, oh, there he goes again. But if you have these concise, perfect points where they bring it, they go, okay, that's right. But a guy who just feels the need to micromanage is what it would be. If you always have some comment to say, it's like, just let us, tell us we're doing bad. We don't need it every time.
No, you're spot on.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming by. Brucey, Peter, you guys are putting together a fantastic product, and I think it starts at the top and professional all the way around. You guys have been awesome to talk to, and congrats on all your success.
Yeah, you're good people. No wonder. Like that's what gives a following is good people. I mean, you guys are. They interviewed well, and they're just all, finally we can be ourselves.
Yeah, the shirts are all tucked in. Yeah, that's nice.
Congratulations to you guys and what you brought here.
We couldn't have done it without you.
I know you guys are big fans of the show, but I really want to hit home the ALS game May 10th, raising money for the ALS Foundation. So we'll be sure to put the word out for you guys there. We'll have links to all your websites for tickets. And again, give us a shout out. We'll help you guys grow as well. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much.
Somos Unidos.
Somos Unidos. Coming up next, here's where you're going to want to stay tuned. It's everybody's favorite Skip's Tips. This is all about you, ABQ.
And Unidos. Somos. Hi, wrong camera. We're going to get to the most interesting divorce reversing part of our show, Skip's Tips.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, ladies, it's Skips, Tips, anything that saves us time, makes us more money, or allows us to have more fun in real estate or in real life. Buyers, the 3 biggest mistakes I see buyers making in this market. If you're under contract on a house, don't change jobs. And don't accept large sums of cash and deposit them in your account. Here's why. Anything that changes your financial situation, whether it's a job change or accepting a large inheritance, is going to raise flags and frankly, throw off your whole loan, and it could cause you to lose the house. Also, avoid making big purchases when you're in escrow. If you decide to go out and buy a whole bunch of new furniture and a new car while you're in escrow, it's going to throw off all your debt-to-income ratios on your loan and will torpedo your deal. And last, keep in communication. Don't ghost your agent during the escrow process. There's forms that need to be signed and timelines that need to be made in order to make the deal happen. So if you ghost your agent, you can kiss that house goodbye. Buying a home can be stressful enough, so don't make these 3 mistakes and you'll be in a good position to buy your home. Share this with a friend and tell them Skip said so.
Share this with a friend if you hate that.
Oh, yeah.
Skip's Tips, man. This is just it's blowing my lid. Keep blowing my pants off, whatever you want to call it. What's the expression back there? Keep your shirt on, blow your
load. Yeah.
So to speak on the money portion, probably 80% of my work in a loan is figuring out where money went, the explanation behind it. If you put in deposits, if you transfer from another account, the bank wants to see 60 days worth of the source of that money. It's the Patriot Act that should have died a long time ago of 2009 that keeps going, which prevented laundering through terrorism to houses. So they thought that terrorists would go buy a house through you, and then that way they could fire Scud missiles.
Shout out New Mexico United every Wednesday night and Sunday morning here on the Education Channel.
Oh, yeah, you're doing real healthy. Let's bring Cynthia back. Yeah. What happened there? Didn't predict that he had emphysema?
This is UABQ.
You're watching UABQ.